Hey y'all, my name is Mel, and this project is meaningful to me because it's a platform we created for women to freely express themselves and be the loud and proud, confident women that they're entitled to be.
Hey, I'm Vicky, and just like Mel, I've been in and witnessed too many situations where I felt prejudged and misunderstood, or even worse, was provoked and later on was labeled as crazy for loving myself enough to stand up for me.
Honestly, if I had a dollar for each time I've been called crazy or too much, simply for standing up for myself or asking questions when things didn't add up, I'd be on an island I bought with that money right now. And I almost started to believe it, that it was me. But then I realized over time that my voice was my power. And through my story and through this podcast, I hope to inspire women from all walks of life to find their courage and speak up.
I'm beyond over being told to take it, and I wanted to be the voice for the ladies who aren't quite ready to roar just yet.
Women aren't to be placed in a box. We come from different backgrounds and have different journeys, and that's pretty much how we become ourselves and find our purpose. So a man has no place telling us how to be, neither does society. I really hope women listen to this podcast and feel heard and realize there's nothing wrong with a little crazy as long as it means you're freely expressing yourself.
This podcast will touch on all things woman. Let's get crazy.
Hello, crazy bitches. Welcome to another episode of the Crazy Bitch Factory. So this episode is dedicated to, Black History Month. So we would like to kind of talk about our experience as, Black women and the different variety of Black people that we have around this world. Black is not uniform. We come in many shades. We come in many, different forms and have different, how can I say, different personality types and like different kinds of music. Different backgrounds, exactly. So we're going to touch base on that on this episode. So one thing, I don't know what I was watching or what I was doing, but I wrote something down and I was like, I definitely want to talk about that during one of our episodes. And basically what I wrote down was that I'm black because of experience, not because of pop culture, not because of, of the movies I've seen or the food I eat or how I was brought up. I'm black because of experience. And what I mean by that is that as a Black woman, when I walk into a room, no one gives a shit that I'm a French Canadian,
right,
Congolese Black girl. I'm here in America, so they see a Black woman. I talk like I have a slight accent if you pay attention, but other than that, I speak like pretty much how everyone else speaks around here. So to everyone else, I'm just a Black woman. So my experience is that of a Black woman, which is not always a pleasant one. You know what I mean? For the most part, when they say we are the most disenfranchised, the most disrespected, the most, hated on this planet, they mean that wholeheartedly. They meant that shit wholeheartedly. It came from somewhere, because our experience is not always an easy one. Now, I know a lot of Black men like to come out and be like, oh well, we're the ones getting shot at, or like, you know what I mean?
They don't give two shits about putting bullets in us recently, as of recent either.
They don't,
so congratulations, we're now in the same boat.
Exactly. And yeah, exactly. And really just, how can I put this? Really just, we're going to kind of break it down as far as like other people saying that like another Black person isn't Black enough or isn't Black at all because of their heritage, because of where they were born, because of the neighborhood they grew up in, because of the types of food they eat, because of their choices in music or literature, exactly, their artistic background, or just how they speak. That does not, people like to say, oh, okay, well, you're not Black enough, or you lose your Black card because you're not invited to the cookout because blah blah blah. That's something. Yeah, it's just, I feel like Black people come from everywhere. Black people are in Africa. Black people are some Black people are in South America. Some Black people are in Canada, in America in general, right. In Europe. We're everywhere.
We're literally everywhere.
We're everywhere. Asia, everywhere. Like, so you can't just say that like specifically if you have to be Black American and have come from a long line of African Americans to know the Black experience. The Black experience is the same for everyone. People in Europe deal with racism a lot as well. They have,
and it's nasty.
And it's nasty. It's I remember, I will never forget the time I went to Germany, and one of the police officers stopped me and my aunt, and asked us for ID. They asked us for our passports. They asked us for our papers. You know what I mean? Just like the Trump administration tried to do. And even prior to the Trump administration, I know there were a lot of patrols going around, Texas and those areas in the South, and trying to stop any Hispanic person to see if they had their document, just random pullovers, and just like, show me your documentation. Next thing you know, ICE is jumping out of a van and stealing somebody's dad. So
Right.
they're doing that in Europe too. The only reason why they didn't do anything is because I'm from Canada, and that Canadian passport was very powerful at the moment. You know what I mean? But had I not been from Canada, had I been from Congo, or had I been from, anywhere else, what would have been the outcome for me as a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid, having to witness that type of discrimination? So it goes to say that, the experience of being, I'm not Black because I know every single, Boys in the Hood movie, or you know what I mean, like, because because of I watched the Color Purple and I know it by heart, or like, I know a lot of the movies that are considered like Black movies, let's say, but I love cinematography. I just love movies. I love a good script. I love something that makes me feel, and yes, I love a good Tyler Perry movie. You know what I mean? But sometimes, I like to expand my horizons. So there's a lot of movies that I may not have known about or seen. And a lot of times people want to be like, oh, okay, well, because you don't know this movie, then you're not black. Or like, if you're not Black American, then you're not Black. Or
that one, right?
Yeah.
You already know that one irks me down to like the white meat of my bones.
Oh, go ahead, girl. Speak on it.
You're not
because
Black
you're Caribbean, so
because you're not.
Y'all are pretty much the same to me.
Especially, and I feel like it's so crazy because back in the day when I was younger, I feel like African Americans did this to everybody. Like, you're African, you're Haitian, you're this, you're that. Now, all of a sudden, it's become the cool thing to acknowledge that we all started from an African base.
Oh, but it wasn't always like that.
But you know what I'm saying?
African
It wasn't always
scratcher.
like that. Now, all of a sudden, if you're African, you're Black. You're just not Black American, but you're Black. If you're Caribbean, I need to understand this. I just really want someone to explain it to me. We are Black people. As Caribbean people, there's probably as much of a mix in us as there are in African American people.
Y'all have the same history.
It's the same history.
It's
literally.
the same history.
There may be some differences here and there, but it's pretty much the same history. The people in the Caribbean don't know anything about where they're from other than being from the Caribbean either. So it's just literally the same thing. And so for me, it literally makes me cringe when I hear, like, just today I was listening to this YouTube broadcast, and one of the callers called in, and it was like a Black topic or whatever. I don't remember what it was, which is so stupid. One of the callers called in, and he was basically saying, like, Black people this, Black people that. And the host was saying, well, when you say Black people, do you mean Black Americans? Do you mean Caribbean people? Do you mean African people? What do you mean? Because are you grouping all Blacks together? Or are you speaking about, Black Americans? And the caller was just like, I'm speaking for my own people. I can only speak for my people. I can only speak for, the Black race, Black Americans, because those, Jamaicans, first of all, this whole thing about those Jamaicans, please stop doing that. It's so distasteful. When you're speaking about Caribbean people, just say Caribbeans, West Indian people, whatever. But to just say those Jamaican people as a reference to all Caribbean people, it's distasteful and it's ignorant, for one.
It is.
And you're just, those Jamaicans, you're speaking about them like they're trash, for one. Jamaican people are lit. I don't know who told you what, but they are lit, for one.
They are.
So to be like, those Jamaicans are done, like, his comment was, those Jamaicans don't consider us their people. If you're not from Yard, then you're a Yankee, and they'll call you a Yankee. And I'm like, yes, it's a terminology that indicates that you're from overseas, you're from another country. If you're not from Yard, then you're not a Yard man, you're not a Jamaican, you're a Yankee. But that doesn't mean you're not Black. It
Yeah.
literally simply speaks to your location in the world. It's not taking away from your blackness.
Yeah, no one's ever taken away from. But
So,
I've had that in my culture as well.
you
Like I'm
know,
African, so I've just because I don't speak Lingala, I don't really know how to cook the food and none of that. I know how to cook. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not I'm not a fufu type because I believe type of cooking type of person. But I've had that experience as well with people being like, it's like on one end you're like, okay, I'm black, like you're born, you see the color of your skin, you're like, I'm black, but then you experience so many different kinds of like, you get so many different experiences from people that you interact with, where there's always the African girls never really liked me, the ones who were like from Africa or grew up really really tightly in the culture, they never really liked me because they were like, oh, you think you're brand new, you think you're cool because you're just like, as you say, Americanized, akata, like the Nigerians would say. But for me, I see myself as an African person. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm African.
I see myself as a fully blooded
exactly.
Asian person.
I'm like,
what
both of my parents are from Africa. I may not have been born there, but I'm definitely African. I'm definitely, and then I also consider myself black because I'm black because of experience. Me speaking the way that I do, before I can even open my mouth to let anyone know that I can speak intellectually and that I have any type of education, before I can even do that, people always look at me, they look at my piercing, my tattoos, my figure, crazy enough that your figure will come into play,
right.
My figure, and just make assumptions and just instantly start to project this type of energy
based on
me.
What they're
assuming. Based
assuming.
on like, oh, okay, this black girl's probably loud and ratchet, and like I need to just, you know what I mean,
Kill
talk
her whole
yeah,
vibe.
exactly, talk to her a certain kind of way before she comes at me any kind of way. I get it from men, I get it from women, I get it from, you know what I mean, I get it from white people, I get it from black people. I get it all the time, and it's just like, so for me it's like, it's not just about pop culture and what you know and don't know. A white person can grow up in the hood and know more than me about, whatever ABCD, but at the end of the day, go into, get out of the hood and go downtown somewhere and get a completely different treatment than I would, even if I were a black girl who didn't grow up in the hood but grew up in the suburbs. It would always be, you know what I mean? It would always be a different experience for me than it would be for a white person. So it's not about pop culture, what you know, what you don't know, if your ancestors were, slaves, and for Caribbeans, either way. And even for Africans, like, just because my ancestors did in Africa doesn't mean that it wasn't colonized by Belgium, and doesn't mean it wasn't colonized by Portugal. It was still colonized. We still had to deal with shit. So all of us are in the same boat.
We're in the same boat. And that's the thing, like, what I was, like, when I heard that on the show this evening, it just turned me off, because I was like, so that's your excuse for saying that you don't give a shit about any black person who's not African American. Your excuse is saying, oh, well, they consider us Yankees. Again, calling you a Yankee is not taking away from your blackness at all. Calling my family calls me a Yankee. And even though I'm not from the United States, they call me a Yankee, or they call me a Bajan Canutt. And it's just a poking fun at the fact that, you're one of us, but you're also one of them. It's literally just that. It's not taking away from your blackness. It's not taking away from anything about you being black. Again, I said this before, and I'll say it again. Go to any one of those West Indian countries and look at how dark the people are, how many range of colors you're gonna get. Walk up to one of them and tell them, hey, you're not black, and see the confusion upon their face, because we are raised to be proud of our culture. Not only that, Caribbean people have long been aware and have been raised in the fact that we are descendants of Africans. African Americans just realized that last year. So
whenever the Black Panther came out.
Exactly. Excuse me for not taking it so lightly when I hear an African American person who, I don't have a problem with African American people. My best friend was raised in the United States. My man is an African American from Nigerian descent. I have quite a few family members in the U.S. So I don't have a problem with African Americans. I quite love the culture and the vibe out here. But the problem for me is other black people around the world ride harder for African Americans. African Americans ride for their own selves and for other blacks. That's a problem. You guys African Americans are on this in this little bubble where they feel like the fight is just for us. and anybody
No, we
else
can
who's
unite.
claiming
Exactly.
black who isn't from here doesn't have the right. And it's like, no, we are, trust me,
We need to
even
all
in Canada,
unite.
whether
Exactly.
you know it or not, whether you believe, because Canada has done an amazing job of pretending there's no racism there,
Ugh.
but whether or not you believe it or not, as a black person, you are getting treated in Canada in certain areas, not all, but in certain areas like the French areas, you're getting treated the same way an African American black is getting treated by a hillbilly on
I
site.
experience more racism in Canada than I have here in America living in the DMV because it's predominantly Hispanic and black.
Right.
I got some, I got some disrespect and discrimination from my own people here. I have, you know what I mean? But like, other than that, the white people that I encounter, not all, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I haven't really had issues with as much as I did. So as much as I did when I was back in Montreal. Like, I wanted to bring up this fact, which is when I was in I think I was in the second grade or first grade. One of my classmates mentioned that he didn't want to play with me because I was black, and I was in Montreal, Canada. So that kind of gave me a realization that I was different from everybody else. He was the music teacher's son, so that made me look at the music teacher different. Like, you know what I mean? It made me look at all white people different because it was just like, how your son over here saying he don't want to play. It didn't make me feel like a never mind, or you know what I mean. It didn't make me feel like I was.
No never mind.
It didn't make me no never mind. It didn't make me no nobody. But at the same time, I started to be kind of like, I don't really know if I want to fuck with white people. Obviously, I have white friends now, but growing up, it was just kind of a thing where I was just like, I don't trust these people. And then when you learn about the history, it may not be Canadian history because they're hiding a lot from us.
Right.
But when I grew up and I learned a lot more about, like, black history in general, not just in the United States, but in the world, it just kind of made me feel like I really can't trust these people. So I don't I'm not saying, okay, let's start a revolution and just like go against all white people. I'm just saying that, like, we need to unite because at the end of the day, it is the same experience for each and every single one of us. Is the same experience. It's the same when a white person or any person sees us who happens to have an issue with, black people, or just have had bad experiences with black people, or feel like, you know what I mean, based on stereotypes, they want to treat us a certain kind of way. They're not going to be like, oh, well, this is just Melissa, the French Canadian girl with from, of Congolese descent.
Don't give a shit.
They don't care. I get the same treatment that anyone else would get.
Right.
Me liking Sex in the City over Girlfriends, excuse me, I freaking love Tracy Ellis Ross.
Right.
Love her to death.
Right.
But
that's bad.
I feel like, for example, Girlfriends is more of a sitcom than, Sex in the City, which is more like raw and really digs into like the real relationship issues that like
you
I can
see
relate
yourself
to.
in a lot of those stories.
And I don't see and I don't look at it based on race. You know what I mean? So just because I choose one over the other doesn't mean that I'm less black than the next. Being black does not fit into one box. We're still human beings at the end of the day.
I mean, shit. If people were to be around for our like little wine nights when we listen to our punk rock and our slow 90s,
I love, like, it's something exactly. It mixes up back and forth. Like, we'll go from oldies, you know what I mean, and then we'll switch up, and the next thing you know, we're listening to Paramore and like Fall Out Boy,
Shania Twain,
Panic at the Disco. Like, exactly, like we rotate back and forth, but I don't feel less black because that's what I want to do, you know what I mean. Another thing also, crap, I wanted to bring that up. It'll probably come back to me. I wanted to talk about black businesses. I wanted to talk about black businesses.
Gosh, can I just say,
black businesses.
There's nothing that warms my heart more than a well-oiled black business machine. Okay,
12 o'clock.
And I don't even care about black, white, whatever. If your shit is janky, it's janky. And I hate to say this as soon as you said black businesses, but that is the first thing that came to mind. I have done business. I have supported black businesses that gave me flawless customer service from beginning to end. Flawless, no complaints. Nothing bothered me. I didn't have to follow up on anything. Nothing was a bother.
Exactly.
But then I've also had some experiences, just like with some white, owned businesses, that was not the best. And my question is, if I'm gonna go to Walmart or Target or anywhere where it's a white owned business and get shitty customer service and complain about it, as I will, What makes you think that I'm supposed to just sit here and support you and spare you because you're black?
Exactly.
I gave you my money.
Yep.
I need my service, and I need it in a way that will allow me to feel like I want to come back.
Yeah, a lot of times that's what I'm saying. Like, the experience will just become like just this, like,
tedious.
It's just tedious. It's like uncomfortable because you're so excited at the beginning. You're so like ready to like give this person your money and promote them online and just like, you know what I mean? You're so ready to do that. As a black person, you're proud. You're like, yes, I found, let's say like I found a boutique and they have great clothes and I want to give this person my money. You know what I mean? And yeah, the prices might be a little bit higher than if I were to go to Fashion Nova, but this is, you know, a single, this is a black woman doing it on her own, and this is a black man doing it on his own. I'm not pinning out anybody in particular. If anyone's listening, I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm just saying, for example, you're here like, okay, great, this is a black owned boutique, I want to go. The person's attitude is dusty. It's like you're bothering them, even though you're here as a client, and they should be excited that you gave them the time of day. Yes, if I was a business owner, I'm saying that in all humility, if I was a business owner, I will be excited that someone gave a shit about what I had going on with all these other brands and all these other things that are already successful and already, you know,
have reviews
and incorporate it into society. Like, we know Walmart, you need some shit, you go to Walmart, you go to Target. But if a brand, let's say Fashion Nova or whatever, but then if I see this boutique is black owned and I want to go there, and I go and I have a person who has a salty attitude, you're overpriced, I'm not coming back. I'll give you your money this time, but I'm not coming back. Because I don't understand why you're not excited that I'm here. I don't understand why you're not like, hey, I'm being supported by my peer. You know what I mean? I don't understand that type of attitude, that type of entitlement. So some of these black business owners, like, work on brushing up on your customer service, work on brushing up on your organization skills.
Oh, God.
Because if I'm supposed to be meeting you somewhere by a certain time, even if you can't make it by that time, make sure that you contact your client. These are very important things. So it's one thing to be a black-owned business, but don't embarrass us. Don't embarrass the culture. Don't embarrass us. Don't make us look bad.
And another thing, because this happened to me with a person, and I'm never going to say that I didn't come at this person strong, because I did. But this was after 6 months after I had complained about the service not being what it needed to be. After this person agreeing that they hadn't offered me the service on the caliber of what it should have been for the price that they were charging for their service. They had promised me a refund of less than half of my funds, which quite frankly I accepted because I didn't want to chase this person. I just felt like it was already going to be a runaround to get the refund. So whatever she was offering to refund, I was going to take it. She quoted me 2 weeks. I gave her a month before I hit her up. After that, she quoted me another month. I gave her 6. So by the time I decided to reach out to her again and let her know how I felt about the entire experience, at that point, I wasn't even looking for my money back. I was looking for her to understand that, yes, I want my money, and if you have it, please send that immediately. But secondly, I wanted her to understand what it feels like to have a person believe in your business and to disappoint them to the point where they're in disbelief. I defended this person when I had mentioned to people that I was going to be working with her. I got a lot of side eyes and I don't knows, and I defended this person off the simple fact that she is very talented, and the way that I met her. And you have to be careful how you meet some of these business owners, because a lot of people will invite you to little shindigs and little what is it called, like social events where you get to mingle and meet new people and meet new business owners or whatever the hell it is. And then you think that because you're meeting this person at this event that they're legit, and nobody tells you that they're full of shit until after you get duped. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I had that problem and I should have told you. And I remember, and it was just kind of like, did I come at her strong after 6 months of giving her time to find herself and the money that she owed me? Absolutely. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. Will I apologize for it? Never on my life, because she deserved it.
Yeah.
And it's how I would have gone at anybody.
Because it's so disappointing when you're trying to support someone of color.
And what you need to do as a black business is take that, own that complaint,
Yeah.
Do you think that these
And
big
apply
name
it
companies
into, exactly.
like TELUS, Fido, Verizon, all these other companies, do you think that they don't get complaints on a daily basis? Do they have the option to
Your
be like,
automated service is shit. Like, you know what I mean? They
like
always
things
get...
that you can't control, like your whole time music is so annoying, shit that you can't
Yeah.
control. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God, I used to get those clients.
And sometimes you have to take these stupid complaints and forward them to whoever needs to hear them. So my thing is, if you're going to give shitty service, when you get those complaints, hold that.
Yeah.
You can't come and clap back and try to insult and belittle the customer who put money in your hands for a service that they didn't received half-ass. It was broken, it was damaged, it was not what it was supposed to be. You promised the person a refund. 6 months have passed. Now the person's pissed. How are you now mad because your client is upset? Your clients are not your friends. That's another thing that black people need to stop doing when they own businesses. Stop thinking that every person that comes to you to spend money is your friend. Because that friend mentality is what causes a lot of this loose, lackluster behavior with these businesses. These are clients. They may come in and they may kiki and they may recommend you to everybody in their family and their mama, but these are still clients. And at the end of the day, if you mess with their money, they're gonna have something to say about it.
Exactly.
You can't be mad about it. You have
can't
to
half-ass anything. Yeah, you can't half-ass anything just because you're black and it's Black History Month. That's pretty much as a whole, like, what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, don't be coming out here like, ooh, I'm black, I got a business, and you selling your grandmother's deviled eggs recipe for Valentine's Day.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like, you can't just come on. Like, you gotta come with it. It's gotta be a passion. It's gotta come from the heart. You know what I mean? So that you're actually providing excellent service. You should be. I will support the person who is just humble and happy and constantly posting content and just like proud of their product and you know what I mean, and just grateful for, like, my friend Rashida. Let me get my phone so I can remember the name of her candle. Her brand of candles, I think it's She Care by Sheeta or something like that. Don't kill me if you listen to this, but I bought candles from her, and this is a girl that I like went to school with, was in middle school with, and everything. It smells so amazing. And she handmade. She started this business over quarantine, and she's my friend. But she still provided me with very amazing service. She showed me how she made the candles. She gave me, she let me smell just about every single one that she had there, you know, so that I could make a decision. And, you know, the presentation is really nice. She didn't just like hand them to me and put them in a maxi bag. And it was just like, you know what I mean? It was just like, here you go.
When you
she
told me that this was a handmade,
it was a very nice
candle.
presentation. She didn't have to, she knows,
shocked.
you know, she knows me. She could have just been like, here you go. You know what I mean? She still give me a nice little wrapping bag, and everything was really nice. So that's something I respect. I'll definitely be back once I finish up all my other candles.
Another person who gives really good service. I should probably grab my phone as well.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'm gonna look it up.
Her name is Sabrina, and she sells a bunch of different really cute sleep attire for women. She also has another website where she sells like cosmetics and lashes and stuff like that. And her service, I've known this person my whole like childhood. We went to school together, and you know, I went to elementary with her and her little sister and some of her family members, and I've known her pretty much, you know, my whole life. She's just a couple years older than me, so we were never in the same grade or nothing. But you know, when I saw that she was, you know, selling stuff and doing her boutique, I was like, okay, let me look into this, because just the person that she is, I just kind of knew that her stuff would be together.
Right.
But boy, was it together. You know what I mean? I made a first purchase from her, and she not even in the same city at the time. By the time I think I purchased from her on Friday, and by Monday, my onesies were in my mailbox. So much so that they were sitting in the mailbox for a week.
And the presentation was nice as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I made a second purchase from her.
It's just the time that they take to really just put it together. Oh yeah.
I made a second purchase from her, and I ended up getting a free, like, you know, a free little complimentary gift in the bag. And the bag was a beautiful packaging. And at the second time around, I was in the city, so I was able to meet up with her, and, you know, the time that she gave me was exactly when she showed up. everything was
professionalism
on.
right
Yeah,
there. That's what I'm
everything was on
saying.
point.
Same here. I found the page. So the page for the scented candles, if you're in the DMV, is shecare_TLC. It's by my good friend Rashida, and she has amazing scented candles. And I had also bought lingerie from D'Angelis. I hope I'm saying her name right. Because when it's online, you reading it a certain kind, like a lot of people say mover Rosemel is mother. So
That's me.
no, but it's not just you, it's everybody, but I don't mind. I'm just saying sometimes I read stuff online. So it's the owner is Alicia, and she sold me a very nice piece of handmade lingerie. She's a single mom, super sweet, super nice, free shipping. So you want to check her out, D'Angelis_clothing. Go ahead. I'm just putting it in between while you're looking for yours.
Yes.
I'm
so,
just like
if you are in, I don't know where she ships to, so I'm just gonna say
some of them,
Canada.
She might ship to you.
Yeah, she did ship to me from Montreal to Toronto, so she probably can ship to you. But if you're in the Montreal area, Toronto area, you want a cute sleepwear, whether it's onesie or some shorts, a two-piece, whatever. Definitely look into at pretty_onesies. So that's at PRETTY_ONESIES. If you go on her page, you'll see some of the selections that she has. Her stuff sells out fast, and I can imagine why, because her service is so amazing. So those are two, well, I guess three you mentioned now.
I'm just looking them up now. I'm like, might as well, you know what I'm saying?
Those are three really good,
I'm like, might as well.
Black women who are doing their thing and have their businesses together, and they're delivering great customer service. Anything like that, I'm here for. But if it's sloppy, please keep it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just like about bashing black businesses altogether. It's just that
exactly.
You're out there sometimes, and they're, you just get negative experiences. And a lot of times I find that I get bad experiences with, like I think one time I had ordered something like seafood or something like that, and like the delivery guy was late. I was there with my kids at the metro, like waiting for him in the fucking cold.
God.
And once he brought the food, like a couple of the items were missing out of the, if I want a seafood boil and you tell me it's gonna be a boiled egg in there, I better have my motherfucking boiled egg. And if not, I better get a discount for the next time or something like that. But it's just sloppy. It's all over the place, and it's just like, you're supposed to take that. No, I'm not taking that. If I can go somewhere and get my shit and be in and out, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. But if I'm coming to a black person, I'm expecting the same things that I'm expecting when I'm spending my money anywhere. So
exactly,
provide decent service, and have great customer service, and have some type of incentives or something that will bring your customers back. Like, hey, after 3 purchases, I give you 15% off. Like, have like, we pay your taxes and all things like that.
Especially if your prices are going, like, because the thing about prices, people complain about black businesses having higher prices, and when they're starting out, you know what I mean, a lot of black businesses do have to charge a little bit more.
I know so many black businesses.
You can get.
I'll take a second around the end to mention, because I feel bad. But yeah, I know a couple more. I'm just like, let me just add on, since we're already on the topic.
Yeah. A lot of black businesses do have to have a slightly higher cost when they're starting out, because let's be real, banks are not lining up to hand out business loans to black people, especially if you're from a certain area, you'd make a certain amount, or you have a certain credit score. It's not the easiest for a black person to start a company, or not a company, but a business. So I understand, I don't have a degree in business yet, but I understand the concept of having to start out your business at a slightly higher cost, because that's what you can afford, and that's the cost of what it's costing you to provide the service. Some people see that as, oh, it's expensive. Some of these black businesses are barely breaking even with their elevated charges. I understand that concept. But like you said, if you know that your prices are more expensive at your place than the next place,
make it worth it. Give me something that's worth it. Yeah,
give me great customer service. I'm the kind of customer, I will pay $10, $20 more at your place if the service is better than the guy down the street, and I'll keep coming to you. Whether I get a discount or not, your service is worth it for me. I'm that kind of person. So imagine if you know that your prices are elevated, and on every 5 visits, you give the person, like you said, tax free, 15 to 20% off, whatever the case may be. Is that gonna kill
Give me a
you?
little treat. You know, I like when I go to the nail salon in Montreal. The one on
Yeah,
Chabanel, where like the lady would always, every
mm-hmm.
single time she'd be like, pick a treat. It was
Exactly.
something nice,
Like a
and
hair clip or a wallet.
yeah, it was
Sometimes
just
it
cute.
was
You know,
like
invest
really
in
cute
yourself. Don't
stuff.
just be like, people don't start it. I don't know much. I didn't go to business school or anything. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying don't believe in your product or in your shit, but what I'm saying is don't go into thinking that anyone gives a fuck. You have to
Mm-hmm.
project that energy into
Mm-hmm.
the universe so that people can be drawn to you and your product and your story and where you came from and why you're doing
Yeah.
what you're doing, and you know what led you to start your business. And you know, once people really sit there, like I've had like more hair in Montreal who did my hair,
I
my
love
braids
her.
for, you know, the longest time. Great experience, great experience. I did
Mm-hmm.
not have to part the hair or nothing. She
Mm-hmm.
did everything on her own, and it was always just like sitting on on a therapist chair where you're just kind of like having someone just hear you out and give
She
you
has dope
advice. And
energy.
she has very good energy, and it's just like she has really good prices too, so that's not even a
Mm-hmm.
complaint or anything for her
Yeah.
how talented she is. She's very fair as far as her prices, so that's another black owned business. There's also the
Not
Ryan.
only that, I will
Mhm.
say for people who have kids, your daughter is so tender headed, and I remember that anytime that she's done Sky's hair, there was no complaint. Like I've asked her, did your hair hurt or was it?
Shit, that was not the same hairdresser.
It wasn't.
No,
Oh,
more
okay,
hair only
never
did my
mind.
hair. She never got to do Sky's hair.
Never
But
mind.
just to carry on to, you know, because we only have a little bit of time left, I thought about the fact that it would be kind of dope, since it's Black History Month, to actually refer you guys to some good. We already started, but I have a
Mhm.
few. There's if you want an amazing silk press, you can go to the page, the Ryan Effect on Instagram. It's I don't know, for me, my roots are nappy. Sorry, my roots are nappy, and she managed to get them sleek and chic within this, you know what I mean, uh which was almost like a miracle. So if you want a nice silk press, you want to keep your hair natural but want to have a nice straight look, even just for Valentine's Day, I recommend the Ryan Effect. In Montreal, obviously, I recommend More Hair. There's DMV Chloe, who's a makeup artist and a makeover connoisseur. Like, she will hook you up and get you from nothing, how can I say, from, I don't know, she'll get you from trash to cash. Okay, let's go on to the next business. There's the Goddess Company LLC on Instagram. The Goddess Company is started out by this girl named Cheyenne. I started following her on Instagram because I just thought she was fucking gorgeous, beautiful, thick black girl. And then she started her skincare company, makeup, clothing, and also has great service.
Awesome.
Okay, who else did I? And then just one more on my end. Let me see the name here. Fuck. I got it, and then I got out of the page. Bear with us. Trinity Kingdom LLC. That's my friend Kelly. She just started out her business in onesies as well. So if you're in the U.S. and you can't get the ones in Montreal, you can definitely contact her. She's a very sweet girl. She'd be more than glad to offer you her services.
On my end, I have I have a few here. So, first one goes out to my girl. Oh my god, I love this girl so much. Kamisha.
Kamisha, how
You
could I
already knew
forget?
I was gonna
How
say
could I-
Kamisha.
How could I not?
Man, I love me some Kamisha.
Maybe because I was thinking more in the U.S., but yeah, Kamisha.
Yes, if you are in the Montreal area, man, and
nice
you
beats.
want your face to be, I don't mean you want a makeup artist. I mean, if you want your concept to be brought to life, if you want your face to be beat to the gods, please go ahead and check out Makeup by Kamisha on Instagram. Kamisha is spelled KIMIISHAA. Makeup by Kamisha. The girl is just, I don't even know what to call her. She's the whole vibe. She's a whole vibe, not just her talent, but her personality. It's just a good time anytime we link up. There's also Fierce Promotions, my girl Pavi.
Yes, Pavi.
Oof, Pavi, that girl will promote the hell out of anything that makes sense. So, if you're looking for any kind of promotion, if you're looking for any collaboration as far as, just getting your business or your product or your service out there, please look into Fierce Promotions on Instagram. Again, it's spelt FFIERCE, and promotions PROMOTIONZ at the end. And I have one very last one who is actually my personal makeup artist for the last couple of months. Her name is JoJo, and the page you're gonna look for is Savage Deluxe Beauty. So Savage, SAVAGE Deluxe DELUXE Beauty BEAUTY, all in one word, on Instagram. She also does an amazing job with makeup. She does waxes. Yeah, so she's so far she does makeup and waxes, and she's also looking into adding some more talents to her roster. So those are a couple people to check out.
Yeah, I think that what would be great is if like we took some time when we're off, offline, and we just kind of jot down like a bunch of like different black, because I can't think of them all right now, but I know a lot of these women, like Robin is doing also a fitness line, and she has a podcast coming out. My friend Marquita has a marketing company. Like, there's just we can do is when we post the story. When we post this episode and we promote it and Kurt promotes it, what we'll do is that in the caption we'll be like, here's a series of black businesses. We'll put the ones that we named, and then we'll add some more.
That makes perfect sense. I like that idea. Now that we're talking on black creators and black business owners, I just want to say that the episode that we did last season with my boy Jamie, at the time we were promoting his podcast that hadn't dropped yet.
Yes.
It has since dropped, and it's called, again, My Depression Said What It Said. Again, it's such a relatable podcast, especially for these times.
Yeah.
It's really just him talking about his depression, how he's feeling on that day, how he's going about certain things, and how he's making it through, and basically explaining how sometimes your depression takes on a being of its own self, and it's not even you. So I really, 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 really encourage and urge you guys to go listen to that podcast. There's also the podcast that you were telling me about today.
Yes. Okay, hold on a second, because that podcast was bomb. It's by my it's not by my friend Marquita, but she was a guest today. Cloth. What was it again? Cloth Talk Podcast. So cloth_talk_podcast. I listened to their most recent episode, and let me see if I can find the title. They named it "Got Some Drink," but they're touching base on different like relationship, advice, and just like, what I mean, just like giving a lot of wisdom. I really, really enjoyed. It was 3 hours long, but I'm telling you, I listened to pretty much the whole thing.
That's good.
It was just it was good. It was so interesting. I love the conversation. I love the rapport between the guests. So I would definitely recommend that podcast as well. And then I guess the Marquita's marketing company is because I know she was just a guest on the podcast. I hope they keep her as a regular. But her marketing company is Golden Williams Group. And you can find it Gold NWCG on Instagram. So, yep, I guess this episode started out kind of like bitter and like, this is how I feel, but now it's just kind of like, obviously we love being black, we love our people, we love to support our people, and yeah, like I feel like most black women that I know have businesses, so it'd be dope to kind of just put that out there.
We're doing our goddamn thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like most people that I don't really know any losers or people who like slack off. Most of the women that we know are business owners and go-getters, and they're black women who are achieving these types of goals, and it's inspiring and motivating. And
we need to get some of them on our podcast.
We definitely do. Yeah, I'm like, yo, we need to for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Once we can get our visuals together and all that, we need to get them on.
Absolutely. But I think that's pretty much
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I mean, this was a good episode.
This was a good episode. Yeah.
It gave a little bit of
I wish that the name calling of the businesses wasn't impromptu, so that we could have a little bit more order. But we'll put that in the caption once we promote this particular episode. We'll go ahead and put it in the caption as well, so that you can easily find their tags, and hopefully receive some of their services because they're all amazing.
They're all amazing,
They're all
and
amazing and
they
talented.
provide great customer service, and I highly doubt you'll have any complaints or problems or issues with them. So, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the Crazy Bitch Factory. Please catch us on Instagram. You can watch. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud. You can reach out to us on Instagram for right now in the inbox at Crazy Bitch Factory Inc. Please send us your questions. Give us any ideas for any future shows. Any black businesses that you would love to have promoted, please let us know. Reach out to us and give us your criticism. And again, like we've said on the last show, we are actively trying to, it's been such a hard, not to make excuses, but just to explain our position. It's been a hard transition.
Yeah.
Over the last couple months. It's been really, really difficult as far as bouncing around a lot and just, mental stability as well for both of us. So now we're kind of starting to get back into the groove of things. We're going to do our absolute best to provide visuals on YouTube and to give you something to kiki at on TikTok.
Just bring up more content.
More content,
content,
just so you guys can get to know us better and get to put a face to the voices and a personality to the voices, because we are some pretty goofy chicks. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for coming back to the Crazy Bitch Factory, and we will see you on our next show.
Peace out.
Bye.
See you next time. Thank you.